The following statement is not to disparage, retaliate, or create any further harm or back and forth in regards to an ongoing situation. In fact, regardless of any potential response or consequence that I may face as a result of this statement, I will not be responding.
This is our story of what the last few years have been like, dealing with the person in question. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
And this is all really truly based off of trying to take a small child off the internet where she's being exploited. This little girl had been abandoned by her mother at age 18 months. Mom was MIA, in rehab, in and out of rehab, on and off drugs. This person has talked negatively about my son for a long period of time. When Mom showed back up into the picture and she was, alleging she was clean and sober, she did regain some custody, but here's the thing. What was my son supposed to do after I had filled in the mother role for 3 solid years, day in, day out? Have I been very hands-on in the child's life? I have been. That was a role that I didn't ask to fulfill. I just stepped in when I was needed. This stems from her defaming and talking negatively about the fact that my son and I lived together and that I was so hands-on. You were MIA for 3 years and this little girl needed a mother figure.
Person in question wasn't shunned by us.
No.
Admittedly so. I'm not blood related to Bobby, but I've been in his life since he was a child. So am I divorced from his uncle? Yes. Is he still my nephew? Also yes. So the way that we are, we're a pretty accepting group of people. We don't shun anybody out. Bobby was accepted back in, and even so much that, I think I can speak for most of us when, we supported her when she decided to come back and get on social media, and we shared her things, and we were cool with her content, and it was great, and it was all fine until it crossed a line that needed to be addressed and still needs to be addressed and is still in the process of being addressed with courts and the other parent and whatnot. But nobody came after the person in question for no reason. You can't expect people to listen to hours and hours and hours of you blatantly talking shit on the internet and expect for me as an aunt not to get calmly cunty in your comment section. I'm gonna respond, and I would do that for any of my other nieces and nephews too. There's a lot of them. I would defend them the same way that I defended this time, and I would continue to do it if I felt the need be. I don't necessarily have an issue with the person in question because you were here, you were with us, you were in this circle. You did things to have yourself put on the outs. We're pretty down to earth people. We're cool with exes and exes' significant others and exes' family members. We don't care. At the end of the day, there's little kids involved in all of our lives. I just want to preface by saying this isn't an attack on this certain individual. It's an attack on how she decides to, her actions and her words and things that you brought this on yourself. Had you just quite literally shut the fuck up and kept your business in the family like it should have stayed, none of this would be going on right now. I think we can all agree, and even the person in question, the internet stuff got out of hand. That child should never be put in situations that she was put in, as any normal adult would have known. So for it to be coming up constantly as content is just dirty work to me. That's not something that needs to be discussed with the world. Your kid shouldn't be on the internet the way you had her. Please take her off. End of discussion. And that's all it should have ever been. Not court cases, not putting dirty laundry out there for the entire world to know. Did he ask for her to come down off of the internet? Yes. Did it affect the paycheck? Probably. Can you see why? Is the writing on the wall? It's plain as day to the rest of us. I can't keep my mouth shut about it. And that's basically it.
That gives good context into why Gina is here. So the person in question tried to say that, Gina's removed by divorce.
I removed myself.
Correct.
Let's start there.
And that's not the way that this family works.
No.
Unfortunately, you can do pretty much anything under the sun.
It's hard to get ousted by this family.
Out of this family.
Yeah.
So Gina was with my brother since high school. They were high school sweethearts. I've known her since I think you came to my house the first time for Bobby's birthday party.
I think he was like 6, 5 or
He
6.
was 6. You
Yeah.
were in like 10th grade, 10th
Yeah,
or 11th
yeah.
grade. So she was with my brother. They got married out of high school. They got divorced 10 years ago. Her and I have remained close ever since, as well as her and everybody else in the family. She comes to all the family functions. She still takes my grandmother grocery shopping. She's very much a part of this
And I
family.
think that's how normal people operate. Like,
Or
there doesn't
should.
have to be
Right.
hostility. And there wouldn't be any hostility with said person. Tell your business.
Right.
Not everybody's. All you had to do was shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been an issue.
She has every right to tell her story. I just feel like some of that information, not only should it be private for the sake of the child that has to grow up in this, social media world where every digital footprint is forever, but also, like, some of the stuff's just flat out lies. She takes a small amount of truth, spins the hell out of it. Us as a family, we don't really have any way to, stick up for ourselves. And I know a lot of people are going to come at us like, oh, you're just, pushing this drama narrative on the internet of a white trash family fighting about, some BS. And I get it. I do get it. That's why we have kept quiet for so long. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to bring more attention to it. Anybody has any advice on how I could get it to come to an end? We've literally kept quiet about it, not said a word, not spoke up publicly it's been at least 2 years.
It's
been,
not like this house video, which was so fucking stupid, if we're being
Correct.
honest. So
So
fucking
stupid.
stupid. It's not like that was the first antagonizing post. Bitch did a 3-part fucking series
Correct.
on this is why this man is trash and expects us to just sit here and watch it and watch all the hate comments. But God forbid anyone fires back and then we're the assholes.
Right.
We're fully aware that she's monetizing off of this situation.
No, absolutely.
All of this is causing traffic to her pages and traffic to her whatever. But it's to the point where we don't even care, because that was the thing. We didn't want to bring attention to any of it. For a long
Right.
time, it was just let her go, just let her go. And we did for the longest time. But how long can you do that to someone without getting a reaction from them?
We get the people that come to us and want to talk about this or see her stuff or bring it up. You get the people that are like, why are you staying quiet? Why don't you speak up? Well, we don't want to send, traffic to her page. We don't want to keep it going. Then you get the people that are like, oh, just leave it alone. If you ignore it, it'll go away.
It doesn't go
It's
away.
been 2 years. It doesn't
Quite
go
clearly.
away. The community where my granddaughter goes to school, the community where this person in question lives, volunteer coaches for cheer. We have people that come in and bring this up on a regular basis. And they come in a lot of times angrier than we are in the moment because they're
Because they
seeing
see
that this
something
is-
that was posted
right.
and they want to.
And they know us and Bobby firsthand, and they're like, this guy is in here, working all week. We see him working. He's a good person. Let me give you some context for that. When the person in question moved into her house that she bought, that she's currently living in, there was one single human being that helped her pack up her entire house, move it, and then unpack her new house. For the whole week that she moved, there was one human being that assisted her. And you're looking at her. It was me. There's been at a minimum of a dozen people that have came through the house to help with different things. And I'm not talking about aunts, uncles, and cousins. People that he's met through bartending, people come in and help him with the move. So that gives you the context
of what type of person he is.
This is what we're
and
dealing
what type
with.
of person she is.
Correct. Besides that, I have a lot of other stuff I want to cover. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, you can we'll try to address those later if I miss anything. One of my big issues is for somebody that's pushing sobriety content and they want to be a sober influencer and help people on their sobriety journey, I feel like it's one of the tenets of AA and NA that you don't tell other people's stories. You don't out other people for addiction struggles. She seems to take it upon herself to bring anybody she can into her stories. Given details, given names. She has some information, but then she adds to it. She makes it sound juicier. It's essentially a gross exaggeration. And anybody that is pushing sober content or helping people with sobriety journeys should know that. You don't tell other people's narratives. You don't out other people's stories. Everybody's on their own journey. You can get your point across without singling people out by giving out their identity and their relationship. The other thing that really bothers me is before the person in question really blew up on the internet, I honestly can say that her and I were friends. Friends in the sense that we talked on the phone almost every day, at least 5 days a week, and our conversations by no way, shape, or form were short or in passing. We talked about everything, anything you and your best friend think of talking about. So when she wants to try to be divisive between Gina and I by saying,
That's why she called me unhinged.
Mimi called her unhinged.
I'm unhinged on a good day.
On a good day. But here's the crazy part. Gina talks to me every day, all day. I probably have called Gina every other word besides unhinged, every synonym for unhinged that exists.
Yes.
Gina is unhinged, truly.
Completely.
It's in a good way. It's in like a ride or die way. It's not in a bad way by any means. It's definitely in a
absolute menace to society.
Mama bear type way where if you F with me, any
or
of my family. Right.
Anybody I care about.
Right. It's
on.
no holds barred type situation. So for to say that I have mentioned before that Gina's unhinged, she is absolutely 100% correct. But again, the spin doctor leaves the context out. If I tell you 35 good stories from the last 2 decades of Gina and I being friends, yeah, she left the context out and she did that on purpose and she was trying to be divisive and
it didn't work.
It's completely transparent what she's trying to do. I met her when she was in high school and I waited tables and bartended at a P.F. Chang's. And at this P.F. Chang's, this person in question would come in a lot with their parents. She was in 10th grade at the time. At that point in time, she had no real relationship with my son. They hadn't dated by any means yet. I had only recognized her from the small neighborhood we lived in. So at P.F. Chang's, this had happened several times. Her mom would order drinks, a champagne cocktail to be exact. We would watch, myself and management for the restaurant, as after she ordered the drink and I dropped it off and walked away from the table, she would slide it on over to the person in question and let her have as many cocktails as she wanted throughout the dinner. To the point where management was eyeing up the table all night long because not only is this completely illegal, but it obviously falls on the business. But that's actually how I met this person firsthand. That's how I met her parents firsthand. So just to give you a little context on that, if we're wondering, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If you're pushing your kid cocktails at a P.F. Chang's at, she's 15, maybe 16 years old, that gives you kind of an idea where some of the problems might have started. And I have people that will vouch for that, because I still am friends with a lot of the managers and people I worked with. The other thing is the co-parenting content. I am completely confident from what they have both told me, not one of them, but both of them, that they'd gone back and forth with, we're sleeping together, he wants to end it, she wants to end it, they have a fight, they stop talking. It was very back and forth. So for her to say the co-parenting stuff was a lie, and she never got along with Bobby Rowell, I think that's a bunch of BS too. There was a lot of time where they were on good terms and maybe thinking they were going to work stuff out, and then it goes sour again. My son used to come to me a lot and say, hey, do you think she's using me to make content? And honestly, I would think it over and I'd be like, well, there's no way you're never going to know for sure. But I think the best stance to have on this is if you, her, and the child are going out doing things like making memories, going to the park, then really the bottom line is the child benefited from it regardless, because there were memories that were built.
Whether they were bullshit or not.
Right. What her intentions were, deep down, a lot of times it did seem very fishy on how she's not talking to him and wants nothing to do with him, and she's setting her boundaries and she's done.
Then a video needed to be made.
And then she would call and be like, hey, do you want to maybe do a video with me? So it's that is kind of definitely a gray area. But for her to say it's a lie, that's BS. I don't know why she's even peddling that story.
Recently,
BS.
that's evident because it's almost like she's running out of things to talk about. The fake gym videos aren't working for you. The little Marshalls hauls aren't working for you. The singing in the car like a crazy person isn't working for you. So now it has to be turmoil with my kid's dad. That's the only thing that is getting an audience or any kind of traction now that she can't have a half-naked little body on her platform.
Right. And I think it's hard for her to go, oh, he was a great guy up until he took me to court to get granddaughter off the internet. And now all of a sudden he's a jerk. Like, those two things don't really align. So now she kind of has to backpedal and go, I was lying when I was saying we were great co-parents and
the timeline of the boundaries also is convenient also. So
absolutely. Yes.
I had to set my boundaries when Bobby started seeing somebody. I had to set my boundaries when Bobby said he wanted his child off the internet. I had to set my boundaries when you got sued for child support. These boundaries are all very convenient.
Yes. Right.
Timeline-wise.
Right. They don't line up with her story, but they do seem to
in
line
real
up
life.
with
In real
our
life,
story.
to real people, those line up.
The other thing I do want to mention about that is my son has made it abundantly clear, at least I feel like he has, that he did also make the mistake early on of posting my granddaughter on the internet. I don't think anybody realized early on
that it was going to blow up like
that she was going to blow up like this. Like, I myself was also very supportive of her doing it. I was naive about the internet.
Like, until it blew up, it wasn't really a big deal. All of us post, admittedly so. I post pictures of my kids for my family to see and whatnot. And that would have been fine if it stayed at that.
Right.
But it didn't. It turned into nasty comments by gross old men. The comment section, it didn't even get deleted. It just stayed there for the entire world to see.
Correct. When somebody posts about your, at the time, I believe she was 10-year-old granddaughter, when a grown man makes a post and says, this video is why I don't believe in age of consent laws.
That is a huge problem.
That might be one of the most disgusting things I've ever read.
And if you don't immediately take every photo of your child off the internet, you are fucked up.
You are the problem.
There is a problem with you.
Very early on, even when the person in question and I were still very, very close, people would come up to me, not total strangers, people on the fringe, you know, a friend of a friend, a cheer mom, somebody in the neighborhood, and they would say, you don't have a problem with the excessive amount that she posts your granddaughter like that? That's really dangerous. And like, I would kind of think, like, what are they talking about? When the person in question started making videos with my granddaughter, we were told by that person, she loves doing this. This is a creative outlet for her. This is her new thing. She's really good at it.
She posted a video of saying, I don't want to be in this video, and then proceeded to post it anyway. And everybody online was like, what the fuck are you?
Right.
Total strangers were duetting the video saying, this bitch is fucking crazy for doing this to this child. She clearly said in no uncertain terms, I don't want to make a video.
Right.
And then you posted a video of her saying that anyway.
Right. I'll be honest. When my granddaughter came home the one day and was like, my friends play softball. I want to learn how to play softball. My son, who's never played softball or baseball for any organized teams, like at school or anything, went out. He Googled what kind of, was the best glove for. Gave her some little lessons from what he learned on YouTube or whatever. He's like, I don't know anything about this, but like, this is what she wants to do, so I'm going to teach her how to play softball. When her mom was like, oh, this is what she loves to do, my son was like, okay, I'll do this stuff with her. She wants to do it. Like, they play video games a lot together. And so they streamed a lot of the video games. Now, I do believe that my son was thinking, I'm in charge of the stream. She's not getting any feedback from anybody on the live stream, so if there's any negative comments, she can't see them. She was recorded or streamed from the neck up playing her video game. So did he ever post her in a capacity to, expose her on social media? Yeah, he did. We very quickly learned that is not something that my granddaughter truly enjoys. She actually is to the point now where when we have a Christmas party, a family birthday dinner,
she doesn't even want to be in a photo.
The first thing she says, do I have to take pictures or make videos? I don't know what kid you know that has that much of an aversion. Before you even get somewhere, she just knows, I don't want to do this. She's been made to feel like, redo this. We're going to do it again. Look at the camera this time. We're going to do it again. Look at the phone. Wait, let me put the light up.
Which is
I
incredibly
just feel
unhealthy.
like it's become a chore to her as a child. She's catching on. This is what mom does for a living. She needs me to do this. I can't really give mom any pushback. So I do feel like she is doing it when there's times that she flat out does not want to do it. And as a child, she doesn't speak up for herself.
I got actually a couple phone calls today because the person in question decided to say something about me on her social media, which was so fucking stupid to begin with. But regardless, I had people calling me today and give me exact examples of, I read this comment in her comment section about her daughter and she didn't take it down. There have been almost grown adults bullying in the comments, and she just leaves them up there. So whether or not directly sees that stuff, at some point, I know, like you said, she's only 11. Her friends are going to see it. Her friends' parents are going to see it and discuss it amongst each other in front of their kids. It's going to get back to her that grown adults talk bad about her. And I don't specifically know what it was. I think it may have been something about like calling her spoiled or a little
spoiled's a
brat
big
or an
thing.
entitled little thing. Not anything any grown-up should say about a little kid on the internet, but also not something that should be left up for the kid to eventually see.
Absolutely.
Eventually, he's going to know that some grown-up called her a spoiled, rotten little brat.
That was one of my son's biggest concerns, is that, as you go through school, like right now, she's 11. So once you get to middle school, kids can be meaner. This is going to get to the point, I believe, where she's going to get teased about it. She's going to be super embarrassed by it. She literally has a digital footprint out there at 11 that can never be erased. Like, even if her mom decided to date it, take down all those videos, there's just too much of it that still exists online.
Can you imagine what she's going to go through when her mother goes to the grocery store, to the gym, to Chick-fil-A, to run errands in a bra and shorts?
Right.
Grown adults already make comments about it online. How bad is that going to be when the kids in school start making comments of,
I could see your
why
mom's
is your mom walking
underboob?
around naked? I can see your mom's underboob. Why is her underboob out in every
Right.
video she posts? Eventually, it's going to be a really big problem. And these videos that are up there now, they're obviously not going anywhere. These kids can always circle back, and even if she decided to stop doing it today.
To think that somebody is doing this for profit, not knowing what psychological damage it's going to do to the child growing up, that's the part that's crazy.
Or
to me. Like,
knowing and just not caring. I think
right,
is the
it's
bigger
one or the
problem.
other, and both of them are horrible scenarios.
Right.
Like, she would say to me, hey, this video, I don't really know if I should put it up, blah, 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 it's in question, like, whether or not, how it was going to take on the internet. If it was going to, if people were going to shred it and say horrible stuff about it because she's exploiting her kid, or if, it was cute and it would get by. I was kind of naive, and at the time, she hadn't really blown up yet, so
But
I
if
was
you
being
have to question it,
supportive.
why are you posting?
So that's kind of what I learned through this process. If there's even a question, why are you rolling the dice? This is your child's psychological well-being.
Everyone on the internet now knows that your kid is a student at school
This
district.
school, right. They know where she goes to her competitive cheer at. It's also a thing where, you've been out in public with us when grown adults will stop you to take pictures.
They did it
with,
at the cheer competition. Instantly
Yes.
mortified, panicked. She was already worked up because of what happened on the mat. She didn't like it. And they're so persistent.
Right.
No,
Yes.
get the fuck out of here. The kid's not taking a picture
that,
with you.
That happens regularly. We've had it happen at amusement parks. We've had it happen at community day fairs. We've had it happen in Target. So
And
that's the
why
other
are you
thing.
fangirling a little girl? You're a
So-
grown adult. That's weird activities to begin with.
It really limits his ability to do certain things because we work in the public, hands-on with the public. The amount of people that I don't think the person in question realizes how disliked she is amongst the community.
and because she's so out of touch with reality.
Yes,
Don't bring that up.
specifically in the school district. Parents really, really dislike her. They don't like the way she exploits my granddaughter. They don't like the way she airs family business.
They don't like the way she shows up half naked at football
They
games.
absolutely don't
Right.
like that. The stuff when you're a bartender that you get to hear from people is wild. I could write a book specifically on the stuff that people bring to me about the person in question. I almost wish people would speak up on our behalf so that it's like, what is it going to take for it to click with her and for her to get it?
I don't think that with someone who is that delusional and thinks that they are 100% right. I got multiple phone calls about all the nonsense that's been going on. Accountability would go a very long way for her and make her so much more well-liked amongst parents. A little bit of accountability. Even now, at this point, if she came to us and said, all right, I was fucked up for a little bit. My mental health isn't the greatest. I said some shit I shouldn't have said on the internet. My bad. I did something fucked up. Can we be cool? It's not even like I'm asking for you to like beg for forgiveness or any of that. Just fucking stop.
Yeah.
Acting like a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Take some accountability and move on. You don't have to address every comment that comes in or every question. Like, if her followers were really so in touch with her and so on her side, they wouldn't still be asking,
where's
April of
why
Kids
do
on
you
the
want
internet?
to see is the better question.
Why do you want to see her? And how do you at this point not know? Because the person in question repeats it a couple times a week. I don't know. That's just weird to me. So another big one is my son and I controlled and manipulated her. She had to fight to get 50-50 custody. Those are all blatant lies. When she came back into the picture from being MIA, gone at rehab, after being gone for 3 solid years, her child was starting kindergarten, and she asked if she could assume the custody time that her parents had. The custody time that her parents had was never a permanent or final custody order. It was always on paper as a temporary custody order, and it was temporary based off of they wanted to keep a relationship between mom, their daughter, the person in question, and my granddaughter while she was away at rehab. Basically, that responsibility cannot legally fall on my son to make sure that this little 1.5-year-old child is keeping contact with her mom in a rehab. So the other grandparents took it upon themselves to say, we'll make sure, his mom's getting better and getting her shit together. Said child will get to have contact with mom. So they had a temporary custody order, and it was all supposed to be worked out when person in question came back from rehab. That kept getting extended because it just never happened. She kept either relapsing, going from sober living back into the actual rehab. I mean, she's told the whole story. She got busted buying heroin on the other side of Pittsburgh. That kept going on. When she assumed the custody time that her parents had, she had 3 days of custody. My son had 4. So he held majority. He's always held majority. He's never lost custody. She was essentially handed that by my son. Now, his lawyer informed him, if you want, you can make her go for random drug testing. Basically, my son could have made her jump through a ton of legal hoops to get her time back on paper. It would have been very expensive. It would have been very costly for her. The lawyer had mentioned it, I don't know how many times. Take her for child support, take her for child support, take her for child support. And my son was like, she doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I'm not going to kick somebody while they're down. She's trying to get herself out of the halfway house into an apartment. And she did. If my son would have filed for child support when she didn't have $1 to her name, that would have been really hard on her. He was literally trying to help set her up for success. And everybody's like, well, why was he so nice to her? Why was he so kind to her? She didn't deserve that.
That's how he is with everybody.
That's how he is. And not only that, he said, I don't want my kid to be the kid in school that is embarrassed because they don't have a mom. I often get accused by the person in question of being overbearing, too hands-on, doing too much for my son. But it's like, I don't know, you disappeared for 3 years and I stepped in. So now you're mad that I'm too hands-on? I don't, what makes you happy? I don't know.
If you remember, a while ago, she had posted on the internet that she was taking Lexapro. And I, again, put my calmly cunty 2 cents in and said, I didn't know that you could mix Lexapro with other drugs and substances because she knows that I know that that's not exactly true, that she was substance free.
Right.
I single-handedly witnessed her drinking alcohol since she has claimed to be sober. We have heard through the grapevine about the weed pen and the Adderall and the Vivitrol to keep her out of the trap house. We all know about these things, yet she wants to sell a story and a narrative of, I can do it, you can do it. You can get sober if I can.
Right.
But are you really sober?
Right.
And that's not a fair thing to give to people who are trying to get sober. It's not a fair narrative to spin when it's not true.
Correct. I feel like if somebody is struggling with their sobriety and for whatever reason they're turning to her or get where she's at, they're going, well, why can she do it and I can't do it?
Because she
I must
can't.
be weak.
Right.
So if you're using something else, if you're trying to stay sober off what was your problem drug, so in her case, heroin, a couple different kind of pills, and then you turn around and say, okay, I never had a problem drinking. I never had a problem with marijuana. I use these things occasionally. That's your
fine.
business. That's your story.
Right.
Right. But to omit the fact that you casually use those things and then to peddle the narrative that you are 100% walk that narrow line of being 100% sober.
That makes people
just
question the sober girl group.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
It's unfair to do to people. If you're using something else to get by, I just feel like you should be open and honest about that.
Millions of people smoke weed.
Correct. And I don't think anybody would
No
even
one has a
knock
problem
her.
with it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would knock her for that.
It's the narrative.
It's the lying about
Because if you need a weed pen to go to sleep, say that you need a weed pen to go to sleep.
Correct.
Like,
There's
it's
a
fine.
there's a
Yes.
reason you can
There's
get your
people that are
medical
allowed to do
marijuana
it.
card.
100%, yeah. And it's not
Right.
fair for her to sell that story as if it's easy peasy to everybody
agree.
because it's not.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, it's complete BS. So that brings me to, with the addiction stuff, why is she lashing out the way she does at my son? I wholeheartedly and firmly believe social media is her new addiction. I believe that she has traded one for the other.
And I think she's running out of content.
And if you have ever watched any, what were those shows with like Dr. Drew? Remember like the celebrities getting clean?
Right.
If you've ever watched an episode of Cops, they tell you for your loved ones, okay, they have to hit rock bottom for them to want help. Sometimes as being in their circle, being their family, friends, you have to create that bottom for them. Mm-hmm. Then they lash out at the person that has taken away their ability to use their drugs, use their substances.
Which is now social media.
Right. So if her hardcore addiction is social media, and my son is the one that's
removing her ability to use his daughter as a little pawn in her social media stories.
Right.
Yeah, right.
She used to say to me years ago when we were super tight and we were friends, I need to find some other things to put on my platform. I want it to be more well-rounded.
That's the pretend workouts now.
Right. That is the pretend workouts. But she had this in her brain years ago. It needs to be more well-rounded. I need to reach more people. Okay, that seems like a good strategy. Pick up a freaking hobby. Go to a freaking art class.
There were things at one point that were intriguing about her social media. The outfit shows, like outfit of the days and the get ready with me's and the
bartender stuff.
The sober bartender stuff was good.
Right.
But it went bad at some point and it probably should have been addressed sooner. She should have got a handle on it sooner and gone another direction. But if you look in the comments, it's a lot of, I miss your sober bartender talk. What works for you, and what you're doing now doesn't.
Correct.
So maybe try to find a happy medium. If this is what makes you happy, like walking around with underboob and doing fake gym content, if that's what makes you happy, find a way to integrate it with what used to work that didn't involve your child.
Didn't involve your child and didn't involve the messy family business and the lies about your baby daddy.
A three-part series of how terrible Bobby is.
Right.
I think the internet could have lived without it.
Yeah.
But you can't handle one cunty comment from his aunt.
It
sent you in a downward spiral so quick because I called you jealous.
Yeah.
Which it's giving jealousy. I'm sorry. The video was giving jealousy.
Right.
You get called out on one thing, and I thought I was treading pretty lightly. I could have said some really nasty things that I did not say and might say eventually, but I didn't yet.
Right.
But I thought I was treading very lightly. You can't handle one comment, but you can trash this man in 3 45-minute parts.
Yes, right,
Circles back to my be so fucking for real.
right.
If you can't handle it, don't dish it.
So that's what I'm saying. She has made it very clear online. I worked so hard for this. I've always wanted to be in the public eye. I've always wanted to be famous. You know, she's always wanted to do reality TV. If you're openly stating, I want to be a public figure,
Shut the fuck up on
then
certain
she
things.
doesn't want
That's all.
any comments that come
Can you
hand
imagine
in hand
how
with being.
actual celebrities, the comments that they get?
Thank you. Right, right.
Just from her reaction, from me saying she was jealous, I don't think she could handle like any type of spotlight.
No.
It's not for you if you can't handle one person calling you out on your bullshit.
What was the point in making that video about I bought a second house? It was truly just to get a dig in at my son.
And it backfired.
Yes, like you're not happy when him and I live in the same house. You're not happy when he does that, so I can be there to help with your daughter. Then you're not happy when he goes moving into his own place with his girl. Like what will make you happy?
The few hundred a month in child support that's going to the
That's
kid,
the other
first
thing.
of all. And even if it wasn't, it's not some like insane amount that it's purchasing homes and
It's
paying
definitely not.
mortgages.
It's
Even
definitely
when
not.
it was getting paid,
Correct.
it wasn't enough for it. She wants to throw around the term extortion. She doesn't have enough money for someone to extort her. Let's
you.
start there.
Thank you.
And if you have an issue with the child support system, take it up with the state of Pennsylvania, not us.
Absolutely.
We didn't
Right.
create these
Right.
rules. We're
Right.
just following them.
And this is a super bold freaking statement from somebody that collected welfare from the state of Pennsylvania
By lying and saying she had full custody
by
of her
lying
kid.
and saying that she was the primary provider when she only had custody 3 days a week. That's completely impossible. So she
And illegal. You're not allowed
Illegal,
to say that you
absolutely.
have custody of your kid for the
Yep.
food stamps. That's not
She
allowed.
collected food stamps, and then she goes and says, oh, my son's hiding income because her big smoking gun is that he's a bartender and people don't claim all their cash tips.
That she did for years.
And she bartended for years. The accusation is wild when you have zero proof, because we all know what happens in court. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Yes. And circling back to the hiding income, did she or did she not bring all of her income to the
Child
support?
support, yeah.
So she lied to the courts about how much money she makes, so she didn't have to pay more money. In the same breath, talk shit on Bobby for lying about
Right.
how much money he
Right.
makes
Right.
to
Right.
get child
Right.
support. The irony is like that's delusion at its best.
Correct.
You're a delusional individual if you're going to talk bad about somebody for lying about their income and then turn around and lie about your income. Pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
At its
And
best.
that brings me to one of my points. Part of her narrative is that, like I said, when she came back from rehab, he gave her with open arms her time. He put up zero legal fight about it because we wholeheartedly believed that she was sober, headed in the right direction. None of this internet stuff was a problem then.
she had everybody's support.
correct,
in the beginning.
Correct. She assumed her parents' physical custody days that they had. And then we had my granddaughter Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Those were the 4 nights. She went and bartended Thursday night, Friday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. So essentially, she bitches that she had to fight for 50-50. You never had to fight for that either. But if we had said to her, you have to take this child every other weekend, because that's what she claimed she
She
wanted
wouldn't have been
so
able to
bad.
make any money.
She wouldn't have been able to work. She would have been driving the child back to us anyways, because she does not have a single person in her family who will help watch that child. Her parents don't live in the state full time. I don't understand what her rationale is behind that. She wanted her every other weekend. Well, you worked every single weekend. Would you have maybe changed your work schedule? You would have, but it's not like you once asked for that and somebody shut you down. From my point of view is she blew up on the internet. The money started pouring in. Everything changed. Now people say, oh, people start making money. You get to see the real them. The mask falls off. I kind of feel like that's really honestly what happened here. I was her best friend. I was with her all the time. We went everywhere together. We would spend hours on the phone, hours. And all of a sudden she started making money, and it was like she didn't need us anymore. She didn't need any favors. All of a sudden everything changed. She actually told me when she blew up on the internet, it was along the lines of, you want to stick up for your piece of shit son. I would have took you and took care of you so you didn't have to work. Now you're going to die behind a bar. Please do not down talk or minimize what I do for a living. I'm a regular...
After she did the same thing for many, many years.
After she did the same thing.
Right.
I'm a regular, what I consider middle class, blue collar, hardworking American. I put in 40 hours a week. I actually really like my job. For her to minimize what I do, I'm going to die behind a bar. I mean, I don't know. It was like all of a sudden something changed. She just looked down on me for clocking in 40 hours a week.
Right.
And for her to say, I was going to take care of you for the rest of your life.
You can't even take care of yourself.
So what, I have to bite my tongue and not speak up on my son's behalf so that you can buy me out? Like, I don't get that part. And here's the other crazy thing. For all the years that they were back and forth, there was a number of times where, you know, they would bicker over this or bicker over that, or there would be an argument here.
You would take her side.
There was at least...
multiple times.
Right, I'm going to say like half the time. Like, I was agreeing with whoever I thought was in the right. If my son is completely... If I don't agree with his point of view on it, I don't just side with him because he's my son. I would tell him, hey, I think that doesn't make sense to me. I don't freaking like that. This is why I agree with her. I'm not going to sit here and be that mom that praises their child. But Bobby and I really do have the relationship where I could tell him something that he absolutely does not agree with. And he'll be like, yeah, that's stupid, Mom. Okay, so what do you want to eat for dinner? Like, he can just disagree with you and move on. He compartmentalizes the disagreement. But it's not going to be a blow up. Everything with her... That was the thing that I struggled with being her friend. I did truly, absolutely love her. I did truly consider her my daughter. I think the problem was little disagreements with her. She makes them blow ups. If you don't agree with the way that something was said, things that should be small and minuscule and almost trivial, she would take them and they would be absolute explosions. She's often made the reference, I don't parent with the father of my child. I co-parent with his mom. That was kind of something that really happened out of convenience. You and I are on the phone 5-6 days a week for anywhere from 2 to 6 hours a day. And you run something past me about, okay, you know, this weekend we're going to change the time or the pickup place, or these are the plans going on. It doesn't really mean that you're co-parenting with me. You and I happen to be friends and we're bullshitting about something that's going on in your life. Would I then take it and run it back to Bobby so he could approve it because it was essentially happening on his custody time? Yes, I would, because it's his custody time, and I as grandma, even though you and I bullshit about it all the time, I as grandma cannot overstep my boundaries and just start making the calls. Bobby is still her father. So the person in question would often get really irate with me because we would come up with what we thought were good plans to iron out some kind of situation. And then I would take it to, you know, my son, and he would be like, well, no, because this is why we got to do it this way or whatever. And she'd be like, you run back and tell him everything. About his daughter during his custody time? Yeah, I kind of do. It's not my call to make those calls. I might have an opinion on how it should work out, but I don't get to make the final call. And she would get so angry with me because I would always let Bobby know what our plans were so he could make the final call. And for some reason, that really made her angry. Early on, before the person in question blew up on the internet, I was very naive to the dangers of the internet. Boomer coded. I think part of the problem is if you're not naturally a pedophile, which, you know, we're not, you don't see the things that pedophiles see. So it takes for somebody that knows more than you to step in and be like, hey, this is what the pedophiles look for. This is what the pedophiles like. And once somebody points that out to you, then you can kind of gauge what you're supposed to be looking for. Previous to that, here I am, just a regular old grandma going, that video's super cute. She's adorable. What's wrong with that? Who would think anything's wrong with that? It took for somebody to educate me. You can look at the person in question's videos And on certain platforms, you can see, I think it's called the analytics. You can see where the video was stopped and rewatched over and over and over. And when somebody that knows more than me and has the expertise to break that down for me, as they did, it turned my stomach. The places in the videos that have been rewatched over and over, you could just look at the numbers on her videos and see the ones with my granddaughter as the thumbnail, the ones where she has her holding questionable items or doing questionable things. I mean, the numbers don't lie. The statistics don't lie. So when those analytics were broken down to me, I then felt like I had been duped by the person in question, because she knew all this way before I knew it. She never brought it to my attention, and that says to me that you are not oblivious. You are well aware of what you're doing.
You're doing it on purpose.
Then it became blatantly obvious that she's doing it on purpose. So the fact that you would sell this child out for money, I just can't get past it. I can't get over it. I can't let it go. For the people that are going to sit there and go, well, you two idiots are just making this bigger than it needs to be. You're giving it attention. You're just airing more dirty laundry. If you have advice on what we should do to stop this person or shut this person up, I am more than willing to listen to it, because we've tried to ignore her for 2 years. We don't say anything to her. We don't say anything to her when we see her. We don't comment on her stuff.
I do.
I don't even go look at her stuff because... But not regularly. You don't
only
comment
the
regularly.
really ignorant ones that I can't bite my
And that's
tongue
only been recently, though.
Right.
In the scope of 2 years.
I let it go for a long time.
Yeah, in the scope of 2 years, you've not said anything for a very long time. But for me, now, it's like, how long is long enough that I don't say anything and it will go away? You tell me.
It's not going
It's been 2 years. There's no slowing down. She keeps it going. What do I wait, 5 years? I don't know how to put a stop to it. And everybody's going to be like, we'll go to court, we'll go to court, we'll go to court. Court is very, very slow.
This also is not a common argument in courts.
So that's the
in
other
Pittsburgh,
problem.
Pennsylvania.
Anybody that has been through custody or child support court, pretty much all over the country, will vouch for me when I say courts, for the most part, use whatever precedent they have set. A lot of it's black and white. This is the case law. This is how it gets ruled, blah, blah, blah. They use a precedent to rule against. There is no precedent set for this in a lot of the places across the country, but especially in Allegheny County. When we brought it to the custody lawyer's attention, he didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. He said, I have to look into this. There's no precedent for it. When you do get to go in front of the judge, you get a few minutes and you better get all your information spit out, efficient, clear cut. We're fighting right now. We have a court hearing coming up, so we're waiting to find out if she's going to be held in contempt for violating the order that she agreed to. But I'll tell you right now, we're not going to stop until my granddaughter's taken off the internet. At no point are we just going to throw our hands up and say, forget it.
I want to circle back too to all the court stuff and the threats of like legal repercussions for us teasing that we were making a video, or for the little video we posted yesterday, or for my comments that I do on her post and whatnot. We are not involved in any court documents, court cases that are going on. We don't have to shut up about anything.
There's no gag order on us.
Nothing.
Nope.
So we can essentially, as long as we're not lying or even maybe saying this person's name specifically, we are not in any type of legal troubles with her. So nothing that we're saying is to try to tiptoe around. We just obviously don't want to make anything worse for Bobby.
Right.
I think I can say for the both of us. And I want to address the whole trying to expose our age. I'm 43 years old. I'm well aware that I'm 43 years old.
I'll be 50 this year.
I'll be 100 talking my shit. I don't care.
Right.
Don't come for my family if you don't want me to come for you. And I think we've made that very clear.
Our desire to protect my granddaughter and, expose this person in question for their lies really has nothing to do with our age. It's the most ridiculous statement I ever heard.
We are older and wiser.
She made a statement today that we were doing this as revenge because that's why she was afraid to take my son out of her videos.
Please.
She was afraid that this... So you're telling me you took my son, you guys stopped with the co-parenting videos. I'm going to say at least 2 years ago, probably a little bit longer. I don't have the
Because
exact
you were
date.
afraid that us old broads were going to have something
And
to say
we
about it.
waited.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we waited 2 years before we decided to come out. I don't even think that's reasonable.
So the thing about our age and coming at her at the age that we are, the age doesn't matter. That's irrelevant in the conversation. So to bring it up just makes you sound stupid, for one thing. And then I was afraid all of this was going to happen. We are doing a fraction of what you have been doing for the last 2 years.
Absolutely.
This little chit chat video that we're doing right now is nothing compared to, number one, the 3-part series of shit talking on Bobby.
Right.
Even the little nasty comments and the lip singing to songs that are so clearly directed towards him that it's
Correct.
delusional. You get what you give. Don't give it if you can't accept us doing it back to you.
Correct.
It's not to be malicious. It's not to be fucking assholes. It is to don't do it if you're not ready for us to do it back.
Right.
Type situation.
And I think she said me was harassing her. I mean, I'm
Oh,
not.
that was 100% me. I think that
you.
was 100%
Okay. I'm not
towards
going to
me.
read the definition of harassment. We all know.
That's not it, though.
If there's harassment, put up the receipts. Where's the proof? Has anybody been calling your phone? No, that's
I
never
did
happened.
ding her messenger a couple times yesterday. I don't care. I was responding
But
to what you said to me.
That's honestly, that's a social media platform. If she doesn't like it, she could block you.
Right.
Harassment
I did
is
block
a
her.
repeated attempt to alarm, annoy, or intimidate somebody. So nobody's called her phone. Nobody's made a threat. Social media isn't grounds for harassment when you choose to be a public figure, as she says is her
Allegedly.
very real full-time job. You're basically saying, I want to be a celebrity, I want to be out in the public,
But nobody can say anything bad
nobody
about me.
say anything bad. Everybody
It's
only
not
say
allowed.
good stuff. Right.
I can say whatever I want.
Correct.
Don't say
Right.
anything
Don't
about
say
it.
it about me.
Right.
So, if
Which
you-
is delusional. That is delusional to almost even try to
Absolutely
accept that as
delusional.
what's actually going to happen.
Right. This just comes with the territory. You chose this as your very real full-time job. It is what it is.
She
I don't know
forgets
what
that
to
people
tell you.
know her in real life.
That's the other thing.
We know
Right.
the real side of the story. We know the other
Right.
side of the story. We know what actually is happening
Right.
in real life. So these people that you're talking to that are all the way across the country and claim to be your friends, they're only hearing your side of the story.
They only know
Right.
her online and through very small snippets,
Interactions,
long
yeah.
weekends that they've spent together in vacation mode. Come back here and talk to the rest of the cheer moms on the cheer squad. Come back here and talk to, you know what I mean,
Anyone that
other
has worked
people,
with her
other
or
people
known
in
her,
the
yeah.
school district. I don't think she realizes the amount of
Actual
dislike.
hate. Like not
Yeah.
internet hate, the amount of actual hate that happens
Right.
in real life that we have to hear about.
Everybody from our area at one point or another frequents this place. And everybody openly talks about it to
And there
us.
have been times early on, before it got as bad as it did, where people would come in and talk about her or want to talk about her, and I personally have shut it down. Said, mind your business.
I
It's not for
did
you
that.
to discuss.
I did that for a while too.
It's to the point where I can't defend it, obviously.
For a
at this
long
point.
time I did that. And the reason I did that was because A, I felt bad, and B, I was embarrassed. I was super embarrassed.
Right. And
But
at the end of the day, it is the mother of your grandchild. So
Right.
obviously you don't want random strangers coming in here and talking bad about her. I agree wholeheartedly. But we're not random strangers.
Correct.
And we're not the
Correct.
ones you're antagonizing with your little storytelling on the internet.
I can think of a lot of instances where I put myself in a bad situation to try to help her along. It's what I would do for my son, so it's what I was doing for her. I was trying to help
I
her
think we
get
have
better.
all done that at some point
Right.
with someone in this family or connected to us one way or another.
Yeah.
Because that is the type of people that we are.
Yeah, so
We
for her
will
to
help
say
each
now,
other no matter what.
I'm trying to defame her or destroy her, that's the opposite of what I've always done, and she knows it. She can lie to the
And
internet all
really,
she wants. She knows it.
If she would have kept it cute, keep it innocent, keep it whatever.
Right.
But don't have yourself dancing around with underboob and boy shorts on in a bed jumping around like you're filming an
Super
OnlyFans video.
sexualized, right.
And then put your daughter in the next video or that same video.
Correct.
There's a line that is wildly crossed. If you would have kept it normal and wholesome and cute and funny, everybody would have been all for it.
I
But
know.
you
and
crossed the line at some point, and it
Right.
had to be addressed.
there's all different, shades of should the kids be on the internet. I think that we are all in agreement that
At
this
this point, it is
specific
budget bar,
shade
yes.
is catering to pedophiles for your views.
Do you think that's
Almost.
why she's spiraling so bad about the child support money? Because she's not making the money, because it's like a domino effect. She's not in the videos anymore. So
Right.
she's not making the money to pay the child support that he essentially filed for because
I think that's
she
part
wouldn't
of it.
align anything. And,
Yeah, I
and come
think
to
her social media platform has taken a very large
Plummet.
hit.
100%
it's
has plummeted.
So, like I said, that is her drug of choice. So you're watching an addict in real time spiral out of control because you are taking their drugs away from them. Because her money took a hit now. She wants to get her child support lowered. She filed a hearing for her child support to be lowered. I honestly have said all along, when all this court stuff started, she brought it to the forefront. She brought it to the internet. If she would have just said, look, Bobby and I aren't on good terms right now, and just moved along, whatever she moved along to, the questions about where's Bobby, what's happening, what's going on with you guys,
They would have stopped
They would have
eventually.
died out.
Right.
And even if they did, there's nothing you can do about it. You know what I mean? Like, people are always going to ask. You just have to keep moving in a positive direction. I don't know at what point she lost the common sense to go, okay, I need to shut this down because my channel, my platform is getting super messy and
Is
super
suffering
toxic
for it.
and brands aren't going to sign me up for brand deals. Nobody's going to want to send me PR. But that's what happened slowly but surely. She's been iced out from all these brands that used to send her stuff, all these companies that used to ask her to do commercials. She's been iced out because her channel is messy, because I think that she is letting her emotions rule. So her hatred towards my son for trying to force my granddaughter off the internet, it makes the person in question feel so good to make that nasty video in that moment that she's basically using this as her coping mechanism in the moment.
The arguing
and, it's
the
bringing in
messiness
views.
is what's
Right.
bringing in the views right now. Eventually, it's just going to go away. And I have said for a while, all these people that rely on social media as their sole income, eventually that's going to be gone. So what
Yes.
do you think is going to happen to you?
Absolutely.
You should
Right.
have maybe opened up other opportunities when you had them, because now we're at the point where is anybody even really going to want to do anything with her anymore?
Right. I think she's just made it too messy. So part of me thinks that she is delusional to the point where she thinks this messiness is going to somehow garner her like a part on a reality show or something. And it's
No,
like,
no, that's not it. No, that can't be it.
Because I will say, I do rack my brain. What is her rationale behind
What
this?
makes her think
is
any of this is a good idea?
What is her end game for this?
Yeah.
Does she know that she's killing off her platform? Or is she just thinking, no, this is driving, it's making me money for today, and all I'm worried about is today. So
That's
I don't
very
know.
addict behavior.
I play with a lot of ideas in my head because her and I don't talk. We have zero communication, so I have no idea what her end game is. I don't know what her rationale is. If she would never mention me, my son, or show my granddaughter again, she would never hear from us again.
No.
We would be a memory. There would be zero interaction.